Play of the game.
Alrighty, okie dokie. We are doing Inuyashiki this week.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a week. Let's be real here. We barely managed to get one of these done in one.
This month.
Robert, please. I think we're overselling ourselves there.
This year.
There we go. Much better. Sci-fi show based on the manga series done by Hiroya Oku. I'm probably saying that wrong. He's the guy who did Gantz. I always wanted to do a video on the Gantz anime, and then I watched the Gantz anime, and I did not want to do a video on that anymore, because it just would have been you and me sitting there going, oh god, the CG.
Also, it's shit and boring and edgy teen shit.
Yes, that's what's charming and endearing about it, how edgy and silly and self-serious it is.
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I know, don't worry, I'm off that idea. It's interesting that that's like his first one, and that's kind of his earlier work though, because Inuyashiki, you can see some similarities to it. It's just, it feels like he's kind of grown as an author. No, I really, this is like one of the first shows in a while where I honestly it's not going to be one of those ones where we're going to sit and rag on it and then pretend to try and be fair and balanced, because I quite enjoyed Inuyashiki. It was a pretty decent piece of sci-fi.
I thought it was shit, to keep that recurring joke going, but you know, it was alright.
To give it an overview, because we want to at least try and pretend to be semi-competent at this whole reviewing business. It's a show mostly about some sad old boy called Ichiro Inuyashiki, whose life is shitty. He looks old before his time. His kids hate him because he's, you know, a sad, depressing salaryman. He finds out he's got fucking terminal cancer because nothing is going right for this dude. And then to top it all off, when he goes for a walk to be sad because, you know, he's literally dying, fucking alien spaceship crashes into his ass and kills him. And then he gets resurrected as a badass super cyborg. Also on the hill with our boy Inuyashiki, when he gets crashed into by the aliens, is a very nice, wholesome young man called Hiro Shishigami, who also becomes a super cyborg robot motherfucker. And hilarity ensues.
Basically, it becomes the edgiest supervillain since edgy supervillains.
Yeah.
They borderline, like, I can't think of anything they do. How could you make him more edgy? Because you don't see him kill any pets, do you?
He doesn't kill any pets. He doesn't seem to have pet-killing tendencies.
But you know what I mean? Like, they literally... He's so edgy, he makes the fucking death of the dog in I Am Legend look fucking calm and normal. Like... The fuck? Old man and fucking shitbag kid becomes robots. Old man discovers he's cool as fuck. Shitbag kid discovers that he can be a shitbag and get away with it. Old man uses his powers to cure cancer and save cats. And rip out Yakuza's eyes. Bad guy shoots babies. Not even joking. They meet up and they fight. Things happen. Building goes on fire. Planes crash. Donald Trump appears. Asteroids.
And then the two guys
die
and Hiro in order to stop the asteroid.
The end.
In a show like this, normally the conventions of the anime would be it's your wholesome young teenage boydo who becomes the protagonist, and he's the guy we follow as he gets superpowers. But instead, we follow the sad old salaryman as he gets superpowers. No, I thought it was interesting how the supposedly wholesome-looking young man is the one who basically decides to make himself feel human by killing a lot of dudes, just a lot of people, just straight up kills a lot of guys.
Especially with how
pretty
he's
brutal
introduced.
Ways.
Because the way he's introduced is like, hey kid, stop letting those bullies get to you. I'm gonna make you go to school and help you out, man. And then, oh my god! What are you doing? Shit!
It's not gonna kill the baby.
Oh god!
Oh lordy.
Jesus.
This is a Mappa production. Mappa make really nice looking stuff. They got the good animations. It's a very true to the original sort of adaptation. There's points where this is just a straight shot-for-shot adaptation of the manga.
Yeah.
So very true to source in that sense. And they really managed to capture Oku's kind of grounded, realistic style as well, which I liked, because that was one of the selling points for the manga for me. Just these quite real-looking characters, and then this kind of body horror element almost with the transformations. They managed to nail that pretty well, I thought.
No, they managed. Like it is, like you say, it's shot for shot.
It's a very small cast, actually, when you think of this. There's not a lot of characters that have a lot of play and a lot of importance to the plot. It's mostly focused on this quite narrow cast of characters and how they all adapt to the situation that each of them find themselves in. In this case, dealing with the fact that their dad or their best mate or the boy who they're crushing on is now a giant super robot.
Yeah. And also the dog character.
And also the dog. Best boy.
Don't forget the dog character.
You had more issues with the animation, I think, than I did. I managed to look past it at points, but...
Oh, no, I was just spotting it all over the place, and I really can't stand CG animation, because it just looks shite. Like, I get why they use it, and how it's cheaper and easier to produce, and allows you to produce more stuff. So, for example, the way it's used in this show is to do stuff that would be hard to actually animate. But just fucking animate it, you lazy bastards.
It is quite jarring just with how rapidly it cuts between the really, really nice, solid, fluid Mappa animation, and then suddenly the PS2 graphics are on. It's like, oh, okay, that was sudden. You couldn't have built that up a bit. Nope, we're just doing the PS2 graphics now. And now we're back to the other stuff.
There's also there's a daughter, which is Mari.
Honestly,
she's a bigger and better role in the manga than the anime, I think.
That's one thing they didn't quite get right. I don't think Mari quite got enough screen time to really justify the investment that Inuyashiki has in her. We understand that, okay, yeah, it's his daughter, naturally, he's very fond of her. However, I just see kind of a salty bitch, and I don't like her terribly in this adaptation.
Yeah. They also failed with his son as well.
Yeah, because he's not in it.
Yeah.
At all. He's just... And then there's my boy.
Yeah, because it's in the manga, he actually has he has one arc, one storyline, and it plays out, final chapter, and it's played out really well. And in the anime, it's literally
a scene, I think.
It's like a PowerPoint presentation slide at a push.
With the exception of Ando and some of the one episode villains, like your Yakuza boss. There's not a lot of stuff that really stands out in terms of the side characters. It really is all about Inuyashiki and Hiro Shishigami. They're really the focus of the show. The
one thing that I think the anime got wrong was it doesn't get the whole ramping up properly. One of my favourite things in anything is watching the momentum of a show build. It's why I love Samurai Flamenco, and I will always speak lyrically about it, because every 3 episodes, a new arc, every 3 episodes it gets hyper, every 3 episodes the plot gets more insane, the plot gets faster, the drama gets tighter, it's everything just bam, 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 bam. It's good. It works well. This doesn't do this as well as the manga, because the manga goes from Inuyashiki's using his robot powers to rescue cats to, oh my god, there's a Yakuza drug lord killing everyone. Fuck.
Yeah, they definitely could have done a better job of ramping up the tension. It kind of goes from 0 to 100 in a quick twist of the dial rather than slowly cranking it up and building it, which, yeah, I think I would have preferred as well. They at least dedicate a solid chunk of an entire episode to a dope-ass fight scene at the end, which not quite the end, but the final conflict between the two main characters that you knew was coming. I love how they threw in that extra twist at the end, which is something that the manga does as well, but I'm really glad they kept that. The whole... Inuyashiki isn't just trying to stop Hiro. At that point, he's also got that tug to go and save Mari, who's slowly suffocating from exposure to fire fumes in a burning building.
Fire's bad.
Fire is bad for you, boys, it turns out. I love how they added that extra layer on top of it. So not only is it the kind of the climactic confrontation between these two characters that you knew was coming, one of the characters also has this extra motivation on top of it, so he's being pulled in 2 directions at once, and that's great drama on top of dope fight scenes, which is what dope fight scenes need in order to be more dope. All of the sort of big confrontations have that, like your moment where Inuyashiki goes after the terrifying giant Yakuza crime lord.
With a massive penis.
With a very, very big cock, yes. But that's... You've completely thrown me off with the dick thing now. Now I don't remember what I was talking about.
Fuck yeah! Down on them here.
No, you know why he's going into that conflict. You understand his motivations, and you understand where this tension between the two has come from in a really, really big way. So, action scenes in this show, irregardless of the CG and stuff, I know it's not our favourite thing, but just in terms of the writing and how they set these things up, it's 10 out of 10. This is good shit. More shows like this, please.
I don't know, it's just the difference between good writing and, being Grant Morrison. Like,
yeah,
it's just this show does it well.
You can write a solid battle show in which characters fight and the animation can be lovely. I really had that last year with what was it called, like Zodiac War or whatever. This is how fucking beige and edgy the show was. I don't even remember what it was fucking called. It was all the characters based off of the zodiac signs doing death game.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it does. It was beautifully animated, and the fight scenes are really well choreographed and really well animated. It looks lovely, but I just didn't give a shit.
I hope Cancer won.
Whereas with this show, even if the fights weren't necessarily as technically proficient in terms of their animation and their choreography, I cared more and I was more invested in it, and therefore I enjoyed them more. It's funny that it's like good writing and making the viewer invested in what's going on the screen will make them enjoy it more rather than just throwing money at it. It's nice to finally watch a show that has good writing. It's like
it's not shit.
This is thoroughly enjoyable. I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
Remember when you have good times watching the anime? The reason that we're ostensibly supposed to do this, rather than to make me question my life choices and fucking hate myself more. This is great. There's a lot of really interesting social commentary in this show. You know, the way good sci-fi does. Turns out they've got quite a lot to say about, I think particularly Japanese society is something that comes up quite a lot. That whole divide between the older generation and the younger generation, which is literally epitomized in our two main characters.
The way I would describe Hiro's character and Inuyashiki's response is kind of like the same way, for example, Battle Royale's plot is brought about.
It's like Battle Royale, but almost in reverse. Battle Royale was kind of a celebration of youth, whereas this seems more like a condemnation almost, and a celebration of the values that older generations of Japan held.
At the same time, Battle Royale's kind of whole point is that the youth are no longer holding up the values that the old hold, so they're trying to force it upon them by making them value life by killing each other.
Yeah, but I think that's the question. In Battle Royale, holding up the values of previous generations is not seen as a good thing because these people are insane. They are making children fucking murder each other. Whereas in this, the values of kids appears to be utterly fucking nihilistic. Like, Hiro's whole thing is, I literally don't give a fuck about fucking any of you.
Yeah.
Except this guy, he's cool, and this girl, because I'm fucking her, and her grandma, because she's funny. That's it. Fuck the rest of you.
Yeah, it's kind of done that way as well, I suppose, yeah.
Whereas Inuyashiki, there's you brought him up as a comparison to Superman, and I think especially Grant Morrison era Superman is a very apt comparison. He's literally in love with the whole concept of life and its importance and how it needs to be celebrated and preserved, and that's his whole motivation. He's down to the point of he's desperately trying to save like a cat that gets run over. He's losing his fucking shit and sobbing his eyes out because he's not able to save this one fucking cat. That's how much he values it.
As well as, like, I'm trying to think what else you could say there, because like even how he meets Ando is quite interesting, because Ando's literally screaming for help.
Yeah, and so he comes running.
And he just like, hello.
Hello, I am old man Gran Torino, but also a robot. You called?
Yeah, and it's like, it's just, I don't know, it's just really well written.
Yeah.
Like,
another theme I was sort of picking up on, it has that kind of commentary on Japanese society and just kind of the impassiveness, because there's a lot of sequences in this show where it's just people in the city talking about the things that are appearing on the news. So, Hiro's rampages and, oh, did you hear that report about that giant meteor that is, heading towards Earth? It's like, yeah, I read something about that on the internet. And it's this real sense of impassiveness. Like, everyone's on their phones. They seem really detached from the events that are going on in the story, even to the point where Hiro is literally killing people through their phones and people are still on their fucking phones. There's actually a scene where these two teenage girls are like, aren't we supposed to turn these off? Isn't there like a guy shooting us through these? And they're like, yeah, but I don't want to, not be able to talk to my friends. It's like, okay, That's some jabs at modern society right there.
Yeah, and obviously as well the 2chan bit of the post
Yeah.
is also doing that as well.
Yeah, the first reaction of the guy who Hiro first confronts, who've, leaked his mother's address once people find out who he is and what he's done. The first reaction of this guy is go, oh, cool, check it out. It's that dude from the thing. Hey, Mom, check it out. It's the dude.
Mom, get the camera!
It's like, how is that your first reaction to the fact that there is, the terrifying killer man talking to you through your computer? Why are you not panicking? Because they don't feel connected to the events at all. No, that's really kind of all the sort of commentary that I was picking up on anyway. It's nice to have a show that really does that. I'm sure there are definitely shows out there that do it, that I'm just not watching them because they don't often come combined with science fiction stuff. But I think that's a real fucking shame, because that's the best science fiction, like I said, is the stuff that also does that. It can have the hype fights and the big robots and the cool effects and things like that, but it also needs to have a solid core of, a message that it's trying to convey. This definitely does do that, does have that, and it works a fuck of a lot better than other shows that don't have it.
Yeah, like, the best sci-fi has things where it's... I always think it's poking fun, but you know what I mean? They're making remarks upon society and things like that.
This is what I want sci-fi anime to be. More like this, please. This is just...
You mean good?
Yeah, just
cut show.
with a bit of charm and a bit of charisma and something to say. Like, the only criticisms that we really had of this were, some pacing issues, maybe a couple flaws with characters who were not overly relevant to the story anyway, and some of the animation choices that they made. Other than that, great show.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, there's nothing, I don't know, it's nothing shite about it, really.
I'm waiting for the Dave Makes a Good Pick episode, because it's a Dave Makes a Good Pick episode, Robert.
Cut the show.